Jeffrey decided to download Tinder. After months of staring at women at his school, he's finally putting himself out there. He keeps swiping week after week, not getting any matches. This app is rigged, he says, while writing an email to the Tinder customer service to complain about not getting any matches. Adonis doesn't even know what Tinder is. He doesn't even have a phone. Adonis approaches women like a real man, in a dark alley, in the park. I remember when I first heard about Tinder, and this was like 3 years ago, and at this point I was pretty lonely. I wanted a girlfriend, I wanted to have some fun, with girls, so I downloaded Tinder and I thought like, wow, this is this great app where I can just find multiple women just from my room. I can meet hundreds of women, amazing. So yeah, I downloaded the app and I started swiping, swipe, 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 swipe. And I swiped for like three whole days, maximizing all my swipes, and you get like 100 swipes each day. And I got a match, finally a match, and this was like quite a good looking girl. So I was pretty happy, I thought to myself, well, I might actually get a girlfriend now. So I sent her my best message at the time, I contemplated my strategy and I told her, hey, how are you doing? And a few days passed after I sent that initial message. And at this point I realized that she ghosted me. That bitch! Like how do you do something like this? I put all my time into writing her a message and she's just ghosting me? Like, what a stupid bitch, right? And this is actually what I thought. I was like, okay, this is just like a one-time thing and just a bit of bad luck. Just a bitch who doesn't deserve my attention anyway. So let me just try again, So I continued on swiping for a few more days and I got another match. Same story, I sent her a message and she ghosted me. And this continued a few times and I remember feeling so sad, so inferior. Like nobody fucking wants me, no girl wants me because I get like rejected all the time. Like 90% of the time I got actually... Like 90% of the time I got rejected, and I actually like tried to maximize my gains. I remember like looking for these YouTubers, like how to maximize my Tinder potential, how to get the best photos, how to write the best bio, what messages do I send to women, like actually spending my time on that shit, and without like any success. And to be honest, I had some success at Tinder, but most of the time it was like wasted, and I'm gonna explain to you why. So let's take a look at some dark Tinder statistics. So on average, men swipe 52% of all women right. And 1% of everything they swipe is a match. So only 1%. Women, on the contrary, only swipe 5% of men. So that's like only the top 5% of men which they actually swipe. And 50% of what they swipe is actually a match. So those are just some statistics to begin with. But let's just dive into some actual experiment, because they did this experiment and it's very interesting. Wheat Waffles actually conducted this experiment, and this is not Wheat Waffles, but I got those statistics off his YouTube channel. So they did this experiment with this guy 170 days long, so 4 months, and he actually purchased Tinder Gold, which you will pay, I think 10 or 15 euros each month, and you will get like more matches, more conversion rates. So in 4 months time, this guy actually swiped 16,500 somewhat times. So he really maximized his swipes. He was like swiping every day to maximize his gains, right? Of those 16,500 swipes, he actually got like almost 8,000. He swiped like 8,000 of them right. So he accepted 8,000 of them. Of those 8,000, only 290 of them matched. So that's like a total conversion rate of 3.7%. So that's even higher than like the 1% they predicted earlier. And let's say that this is like maybe above average looking guy. You can imagine that if you are below average, it's even worse. So let's dive into it. 68 girls actually responded to his message. So he actually sent messages to all those 290 girls, and only 68 responded. Of those 68, he managed to get 11 whole phone numbers, which he actually continued to text. So after 4 months of swiping every day, for I don't know how long, 1 hour, 2 hours a day, swiping every day, he actually got 3 whole dates. So after 4 months of putting in the work, like it's fucking dark how unsuccessful this guy is. And he's like, I would say, an average looking guy, right? Imagine what it would be if you are actually below average. And I would say my story, my statistics aren't this bad, but aren't much better either. So maybe they were a bit better than this, but I still didn't have any success on Tinder. Let's be real here. Tinder is only successful for a small part of people. Like if you're at least a 9 out of 10 as a man, then Tinder is successful. Because you have to remember, women only swipe the top 5% of men, as we saw in the previous statistics. And if you max out everything as a man, if you max out your photos, your bio, your flirting skills, because that's a whole nother story, For women, it's much easier. Women, basically, Tinder is successful for all women, even if you are very low quality. They actually did experiments with low quality women and Tinder. They even got the matches because women don't really have to do anything. And today, there are a lot of horny motherfuckers who will accept any woman. Women can get any date they want. They don't really have to do anything for it. They just have to accept the messages, just reply a bit, and if the guy asks them to come on a date, they just have to say yes. As men, we actually have to write the messages and actually try to flirt. And if you see those that conversion rate of how low the success even is, that's dark. I would say that Tinder is designed for women. If you ask any girl who's on Tinder, what do you think of Tinder? Do you have any success so far? I think she will be pretty positive. But if you ask any guy, what do you think of Tinder? You'll be quite negative because women get much more success on Tinder. Let's take a look at the psychological effects, because I think Tinder is not just some fun app where you can just hook up for a bit. I think there are actually effects attached to it. Women get entitled because of Tinder. They think they are a queen, that they are the best because they get so much attention. You have to remember that in real life they might get 1 or 2 compliments each day, and I would say that that's a lot. Most of the time they don't even get compliments. Maybe sometimes in the gym somebody walks up to them or anything like this. But with Tinder, they get so many messages of guys who are trying to flirt with them, who are complimenting them on everything. They get so much attention and they think they are the bomb. Oh my God, look at all those guys who are interested in me. I'm the bomb, Men get ignored 90% of the time on Tinder. And I think their mental health really declines because of that. What do you think if you cold approach some girls in the street and you get rejected 90% of the time? What do you think that does to your mental health? What do you think that does to your perception of yourself? If you constantly get rejected by all the girls, constantly getting rejected without any success, that's not healthy for any man. Not getting any success is not healthy for any man. At least getting successful 30% of the time, that's something healthy, right? But 90% of the time, that's dark. And it's not even 90%, I would say. It's more than 90%. But you have to remember that just getting a message back from a girl is not success, I would say. I would say getting on a date with a girl is success. And 3 dates in 4 months' time is not success. And isn't 90% of the time. That's 99.997% of the time, right? So there is this portion of men who do succeed on Tinder. This 5% of men. And these 5% of men, they turn into giga chats. And I don't necessarily think that being a giga chat, being in the red pill, being able to attract so many women that you don't really have to do anything anymore. I don't think that's a healthy position to be in, especially when you take advantage of that in the form of going on as many dates as possible in Tinder, having as much sex as possible. And I will explain to you why. Well, because they have so much attention from girls, they can get any girl they want. They don't really care about them anymore. They basically treat them like dogs. And that's when you see those girls complaining that all guys are assholes, right? So you don't really want to be a giga chat in the sense of dating as much girls as possible on Tinder. I would say that being a giga chat in real life, being able to attract girls is a great asset, but taking advantage of as many girls as possible is not. So I would say that Tinder feeds into our hookup culture. It is the thing that drives our hookup culture and makes it even easier, because men are afraid to actually approach real girls. And you know my opinion about hookup culture. Hookup culture is feeding into our degeneracy. If you are on Tinder right now, delete it, because you're not a Jeffrey, or at least you don't want to be, I hope. Learn to build some real valuable life skills. Like read a book like How to Win Friends and Influence People, to actually boost your social skills, so you can actually attract some girls in real life. By the way, click the link in the description to join my private community. It's all about fitness and self-improvement. Spartans, prepare for glory.